12 NFL and college football trends for this weekend. They total a combined 110-0. Got some doozies in this video. We're going to jump right into them. And guys, as always, never make a bet based on any single trend or angle. The trends I'm giving you are just one trend in each game where there are many relevant trends active. If you're going to use trends as part of your handicapping process, the best thing you can do is weigh out all of the trends that you feel are relevant in a game and see if they weigh out more heavily on one side or the other. We're going to start with college football and trend number one. And we are going to look at Northern Illinois going back to last season when they are a favorite. Hit the SDQL button. And you can see that Northern Illinois is 0-8 against the spread, actually 1-7 straight up as a favorite, and that's despite being a favorite of about -8.5 per game on average. So they're favored by more than a touchdown on average, and they're still 1-7 straight up. So you may want to look at a money line bet against Northern Illinois here. 0-8 against the spread, losing to the spread by basically 17.5 points per game. Excuse me, and you can see that this is active on Saturday. Northern Illinois, a road favorite against Akron. So let's roll right on into trend number two. And for trend number two, we're going to look at Rutgers. We're going to go back to the 2021 season when they are on the road and they committed one or fewer turnovers in their previous game. So previous turnovers less than or equal to one. We'll hit the SDQL button. And you'll see that the over-under is 0-8, no overs, 8 unders. These games stayed under by more than 2 touchdowns per game. Very nice margin there. Love that. Hard to get an under margin like that, but we got one here. And you can see that it was actually active 2 weeks ago when Rutgers visited Michigan. And it's active once again as Rutgers visits Wisconsin on Saturday. So let's move right into trend number three. This time we're going to look at Iowa State. We're going to go again back to the 21 season when they are facing an opponent that averages more 450 or more total yards per game. So in the NFL database, there's a parameter for total yards. For some reason, there is not one in college football that I can tell. So to get total yards, we have to put in parentheses rushing yards plus passing yards. So your opponent's average rushing yards plus passing yards per game greater than or equal to 450. Hit the SDQL button. And you can see that Iowa State does not fare very well against these really good offenses. 0-8 straight up, losing by more than 2 touchdowns a game, despite only being an average underdog of 2 points. 0-8 against the spread, so they lost to the spread by an average of 12.25 points per game. And this is active on Saturday with Iowa State at home as a dog against TCU. And if it stays within that parameter, it will be active next Saturday as well. So I might be revisiting this trend next week when they visit Cincinnati, as right now Cincinnati is averaging at least 450 total yards per game. We'll see if that stays the case till next Saturday. So we are going to move into trend number 4. And guys, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button and also hit the bell for notifications so you know immediately when I post one of these trend videos. Now we're going to look at Ball State. And again, we're going to go back to the 21 season. We're going to look at them when they are coming off a conference loss. So previous game, conference loss. Hit the SDQL button. And you can see the over-under is 0-8. No overs, 8 unders. These games stayed under by nearly 12.5 points per game on average. And this is active Saturday, Ball State at Eastern Michigan. So let's go to trend number 5. Trend number 5, we're going to look at Central Florida. Again, going back to the 21 season. And again, I've said this in previous videos. I don't like to normally go back more than a couple seasons in college football just because the players change so frequently. I will go back further than 2 or 3 seasons if the coach, head coach is the same. So the same style and philosophy is in play. But normally, I don't go back farther than 20 or 21 here for these trends. But we're looking at Central Florida going back to 2021, when in their previous game, they were leading by 17 points or more at halftime. So capital M is margin, and 2 refers to the second quarter. So this is previous game, margin after the second quarter, greater than or equal to 17. So they were up by 17 or more at the half in their last game. And we'll hit the SDQL button. And you'll see that Central Florida, despite being an average favorite of about -5, are just 3-5 straight up and 0-8 against the spread, losing to the spread by exactly a 12 points per game average. And this is active on Saturday, Central Florida at Kansas. So let's move to trend number 6. For trend number 6, we're going to look at Kentucky. We're going to go back to just last season for this one. We're going to look at Kentucky when they are coming off a game where they committed 1 or fewer turnovers. So previous turnovers, less than or equal to 1. We'll hit the SDQL button. You can see that the over-under is 0-9. No overs, 9 unders. These games stayed under by an average of nearly 12.5 points per game. Love the double-digit margin there. And you can see that this is active on Saturday with Kentucky at Georgia. And that is going to bring us to the 7th and final college football trend for this week. And guys, if you haven't already, please hit the thumbs up to like this video. I would greatly appreciate that. For our 7th and final trend of college football for this week, we're going to look at Oregon State. We're again going to go back to just last season. We're going to look at them when they are, the line is greater than or equal to -24, which means basically as long as they are not favored by more than 24 points. And in their previous game, they committed 1 or fewer turnovers. We've seen this parameter a couple of times in this video, and we're looking at it again here. So we'll hit the SDQL button. You can see that Oregon State is a perfect 10-0 against the spread. So they won the games by nearly 20 points per game on average, despite being a -8 favorite on average. Covered the spread by nearly 12 points per game on average for a perfect 10-0 ATS record. And this is active on Saturday with Oregon State at Cal. So now we are going to switch on over to the NFL, where I've got 5 more trends for you. And to do that, we're going to click on NFL. And we're going to click on NFL SDQL query. And now for this first NFL trend, we're going to look at the Chicago Bears. So if you're watching this on Thursday, this trend is active tonight. Bears and Commanders on Thursday Night Football. Yippee, huh? We're going to go all the way back to October 17th of 2021, when their previous game was against a non-conference opponent. So a previous opponent's conference does not equal their conference. So the exclamation point before the equal sign turns equals into not equals. So Bears, since October 17th of 21, against when their previous opponent was a non-conference opponent. So they're coming off a game against an AFC opponent, which they just played the Broncos. You can see that the Bears are 1-8 straight up, 0-8-1 against the spread, losing to the spread by an average of, almost a touchdown per game. So not a great margin, but a good margin. And you can see that this is active tonight or Thursday, depending when you're watching this. It's on Thursday Night Football, Bears at the Commanders. This is going to be active 3 more times this season. You can see week 8, week 9, and week 16. They will be coming off games against non-conference or AFC opponents. So our next NFL trend, we are going to look at the Cincinnati Bengals. We're going to go back to November 22nd of 2020. And I just messed that completely up. So let me fix my mistake here. So we're going back to November 22nd of 2020 when the Bengals are on the road and they're coming off an against the spread loss. So capital ATS is against the spread, capital L is lost. So this doesn't necessarily mean they lost their last game. It just means they didn't cover the spread in their last game. So we'll hit the SDQL button. And it never fails. At least one time during every video, the database kind of locks up and has to think before it will give us our results. And here you can see the over-under is 0-8, no overs, 8 unders. These games stayed under by almost 9.5 points per game on average. And you can see that this is active on Sunday when the Bengals visit the Arizona Cardinals. So we're going to move on to the third NFL trend. And guys, if you have any trends that you would like me to look up for this weekend's games, or if you have any that you found as well, drop that in the comments. I'd love to see what you've dug up for this weekend as well. So for this trend, we're going to look at the Tennessee Titans. We're going to go back to the 2021 season when they were playing anywhere between week 5 and 9. So this is almost basically saying October, but we'll hit the SDQL button and you'll see that the Titans are 8-1 straight up, despite being an average line of basically a 3-point underdog. 9-0 against the spread, covering the spread by nearly 11.5 points per game on average. And this is active not only this Sunday when the Titans visit the Colts, but you can see week 6 against the Ravens, week 8 against the Falcons, and week 9 against the Steelers. We'll see if this trend continues. So before I get to the second to last trend for this video, just a quick message here on a deal I've got going on right now. And I'm not really sure what happened. Everything's going crazy today. I'm not really sure what's happening, guys. This thing has a mind of its own today. But what I've got going on right now over at dbbets.com, if you look on the right-hand side, Wager Talk Specials, football blowout, NFL and college football for $39 per week. So from Wednesday, October 4th through Tuesday, November 21st, there are 49 straight days with football. You can get those 7 weeks of college and NFL action for just $39 per week. For the next 7 weeks, it works out. It's the same price as a one-day all-access pass. And the sooner you buy, the more you save. And it will include any NFL or college football selections that I release until November 21st. Basically, you know, it's a great deal. Regular price works out to $409, but if you take advantage of this deal, you will save $136, and you will get this next 7 weeks of football for just $273. Check that out right now at dbbets.com. So now for this next trend, we're going to look at the San Francisco 49ers. we're going to go back to November 28th of 2021 when they're a conference home favorite. We'll hit the SDQL button. And you can see that the Niners are a perfect 12-0 straight up and against the spread. Average line, basically an 8-point favorite. Won those games by an average of more than 17 points per game. Covered the spread in all 12 by an average of more than 9 points per game. And this is active with the Niners on Sunday Night Football in a huge game against the Dallas Cowboys. So let's wrap this up with the 12th and final trend of this video. We are going to look at the Washington Commanders. So here's another Thursday night trend. So if you watch this video on Thursday in time, you got a trend that's active for the Thursday night game. We're going to go back to the 2020 season when the Commanders are coming off back-to-back losses. So previous game was a loss. And 2 games ago, previous game was a loss. And the line is less than 10, so basically as long as they are not a double-digit underdog. And we'll hit the SDQL button. And you will see the over-under is 0-14. No overs, 14 unders. These games stayed under by more than 10 points per game on average. And you can see that this is active Thursday. The Commanders hosting the Chicago Bears on Thursday Night Football. But guys, I got to tell you, my personal read on this Thursday night game is that it just looks way too easy to take the over in this game with these 2 bad defenses. So I want to bet the under, and this trend supports the under, but I got to tell you that I also saw several very good trends that favor the over in this game as well. So I personally will not be betting this Thursday night game. And that, guys, is going to do it for this week's edition of my football trend report. Again, if you've got any trends that you found for this weekend's games, drop them in the comments. If you have any situations that you'd like me to look up, drop those in the comments as well. I will get to them when I can. And as always, guys, best of luck on all of your wagers this weekend.